Western Ag Network on the road at the American Sheep Industry Association Annual Convention in Scottsdale, Arizona. Brought to you by the American Lamb Board.
Well, the American Sheep Industry Association's annual convention is officially underway here in Scottsdale, Arizona. And our coverage this week from here in Scottsdale is brought to you by our friends at the American Lamb Board. For all the exciting details about what the Lamb Checkoff Dollar is doing on behalf of both producers and consumers, visit lambboard.com. Well, joining us now is the American Sheep Industry Association's Executive Director, Peter Orwick. And Peter, it is always so fun for sheep producers and others to come to the ASI's annual convention. This year, here in Scottsdale, Arizona, this really is the sheep industry's big gathering of the year.
Absolutely. It's the biggest event that is held annually, and the entire wool business shows up, from textile to sock makers to ranchers, warehouses, traders. Same thing with the lamb industry. You know, the companies show up, the lamb feeders show up, and the growers are here. So it's really the best. If you want to know what's going on in the industry and you want to network, this is the spot to be.
I'm not going to lie either. For us Northerners, this Arizona sun feels pretty good, don't it?
Yeah, it's a good spot in January, and that's the one thing that ASI tries to do is find a spot where people can fly in. This event is so big, we run over 50 meetings in 3 days, and there's a lot of properties can't even handle that for the amount of folks. I think we're at 450 registrations, so you know, it again, great opportunity. There's meetings all day, and then tomorrow we got meetings all day again. So,
Well, as always, there's never a lack of issues to talk about in the livestock industry, more specifically the lamb and wool markets and industries. The big one though, Farm Bill, and even more so this year because we haven't had a new Farm Bill forever, and there's an important component for the U.S. sheep industry that needs to be included in the new Farm Bill.
no, absolutely. And of course, we just went through the whole process with extending the Farm Bill provisions one more time, as we did a year ago in the fall, and you know, so we've got part of the programs like our wool LDP. That's extended, so it's going to be there to operate on this shearing season, which we were just entering into. But as you were mentioning, we've got to pick up our wool trust program again. That's important for the manufacturers as well as for ASI. And our sheep center program, we need to get that included in the next farm bill as well. So that's job one, really, is the farm bill, and we're trying to do something with risk management because of the volatility on the lamb side. We'd love to have some language in the farm bill to help with that, and we've got staff from the House and Senate Agriculture Committees joining us today.
Nice. Another big priority for ASI every year is making sure that wildlife services is properly funded. So those predators across this country, and those of us out here in the West, like coyotes and wolves and grizzly bears and mountain lions, don't eat us out of the business.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, a great example to your point. You know, we have the spring-loaded ejector devices primarily for coyote control, and Congress told USDA they prefer they not fund it, so USDA immediately complied. Unfortunately, it's an EPA approved product. Label's been approved by the federal government multiple times. So that's one that we're going to ask the Trump administration in the first week to consider bringing that tool back online. And again, you know, a Farm Bill extension didn't include that $50 million for feral hog control. And then you're visiting with the Texans and some of the other folks. That's as big an issue as it is for coyotes. So another priority that we need to deal with.
Yeah, it sure is. It seems like labor is also a big issue still in American agriculture, and especially for, well, here in Arizona, the vegetable industry, those guys that are raising produce and things of that sort. And then, of course, for the livestock industry, the sheep industry, you know, having the ability to get some qualified help out here on our ranches.
Yeah, no, and of course, you know, the H2A program has been there for the sheep industry for hiring herders for decades and decades. It's a very unique program, and we're going to have those discussions here this week too. We've got a huge policy that we've spent a lot of time and money to build out what we do to make the H2A program work the best for the ranchers. But of course, we need a legislative vehicle. So we're going to get the policy out there again. I think we're going to have a task force specifically on the H2A program in 2025. If there's something the agencies can do to help, we're going to ask. We got to know exactly what that is to ask, but then be ready when Congress gets around to immigration reform.
A big win for the entire U.S. sheep industry, the livestock industry across America, and really just the entire ag industry as a whole this past November out of the state of Colorado when voters in Denver rejected that initiative that would have banned meat processing within the city limits. And those of us in agriculture were really worried that if that had passed, that could have set a very dangerous precedent. But it didn't. And kudos to organizations like the American Sheep Industry Association and others.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right, Russell. In fact, the CEO of the lamb company in Denver, Superior Farms, they met with the exec board yesterday, and they thanked them for being #1 out front with a significant contribution towards the campaign to defeat it. The company hired the PR firm, but clearly everybody that helped fund that $1.5 million campaign, they wanted to know where the sheep industry is, where's the lamb industry. And fortunately for us at this meeting a year ago in Denver, the ASI board put up $80,000 right off the bat. So yeah, and they were using it. If the animal rights folks, if they could pass something like that in Denver, they can do it in any metropolitan area in the country.
Yeah, and that's what I think they were planning on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, let's just kind of wrap up, Peter, for folks that could not join us here in Scottsdale this week for this year's annual convention. It's time to maybe get next year's on the calendar already. We're headed to Reno. Talk about that.
You know, Reno is one of the more traditional spots. People, I think, enjoy it. A lot of the folks are able to drive in, which they appreciate that. They, again, like the warmer climate, but you're exactly right. Plan on next January to join us. And we're very reasonable in our fees and our hotel rates. We're very respectful that people take the time and the money to invest in the meeting. And that beyond that, you'll get 5 of the best lamb meals you're going to find anywhere in the country.
Yep, absolutely. We'll end on that. Again, our thanks to Peter Orwick, the American Sheep Industry Association's Executive Director, for joining us here in Scottsdale, Arizona at their 2025 annual convention. Always just so much going on in the industry, and sheep producers really should be very thankful they have a group like ASI working on their behalf every single day. For more details, you can always visit their website at sheepusa.org.
Western Ag Network on the road at the American Sheep Industry Association Annual Convention in Scottsdale, Arizona. Brought to you by the American Lamb Board.